Okay, so this particular video is not in your reading, but you need to make sure you understand this concept anyway. And this is a fourth major cause of World War One, and that is alliances or the alliance system. So we got to understand some of the dynamics at play here. And let's start with Germany. So Germany, one of its major enemies, as we had just kind of talked about, was France. France believed it wanted the Alsace-Lorraine back. It believed it was theirs. And so they definitely want an opportunity to get back at Germany. So Germany and France are enemies. Germany views Britain as kind of like this colonial industrial power that's at the top of the world. And so they would like to be able to compete with Britain. And so they kind of view them as a major rival. And then you also have the German Empire viewing Russia as a major rival over some territories here in kind of like what is now Poland. And so they had some disputes there as well. So Germany's actually got quite a few enemies here. And despite the fact that they actually had kind of split from Austria over the Germanic speaking peoples, at least Austria Hungary still is mostly Germanic speaking peoples, or there's a lot of German speakers in Austria. And Germany doesn't want to be surrounded. And so Germany would view Austria Hungary as more of an ally, whereas Russia, Britain, and France are more of the people they are worried about and are the bigger threats to their empire. Austria is pretty weak, and it needs a strong ally against its most bitter enemy, Russia. Russia, remember, has a huge army, and Austria-Hungary would struggle in a war against the much larger army of Russia. So it needs a major ally. So it views Germany as its ally. Doesn't really have a problem with Britain or France, but it needs an ally against Russia. Well, then France and Russia are both worried about the growing strength of the German Empire and are worried, are they going to try to take more territory? Britain isn't necessarily friendly with everybody, but France, they've gotten a little more friendly with France in recent years, and they are more worried about Germany trying to overtake them militarily as far as a navy goes, and Germany trying to get more overseas colonies, and so therefore expanding into the British realm there. And finally, little Serbia here is basically a Slavic country, and it wants to make inroads into gaining some of Austria's territory. So they view Austria-Hungary as a major threat, and therefore they want to ally themselves with Russia in order to have a kind of a big backup there in case Austria-Hungary tries to take it over. So hopefully you caught all of those relationships there and understand why every country here, or at least these five major countries, are all trying to get allies because of what they view as this perceived threat. So that is the cause of World War One, known as alliances or entangling alliances, what sometimes it is called.